May we start with the Boston bombing? You know what we know on the Boston bombing and more. Can you go into that at all on what's happening on that?
Well, I can to some of it, but some still hasn't been released. But for heaven's sake, when you have a guy here like Tomerlin, and you have even had a heads up from Russia that this guy is radicalized, and you don't do anything about it, you go out and visit with him and his family. Glenn, can you imagine what that interview must have been like? Since we know the FBI lexicon has been cleaned up to avoid using terms like jihad and so many of the things the 9/11 Commission referred to, how do you do that interview without getting in trouble with your bosses because you're talking about jihad? How do you ask this guy, what is your most important religious writer? Is it Qutb that wrote Milestones that Biari that is defended, who happens to also be on the Homeland Security Advisory Council? But Qutb is also a guy Osama bin Laden said helped radicalize him through his writings. How do you go into that to determine this guy's not a threat if you can't bore down on exactly what he believes about jihad? I just can't imagine. It must have been a complete waste of time to go out and talk to a guy when you can't bore into the issue that's most important. How radicalized are you? What are your beliefs? Who do you follow? Who do you think is important in the Islamic movement? And they didn't get any of that.
Louie, can you tell me this? Sorry, Congressman, can you tell me this? Who is... tell me the story on the judge. The judge really disturbs me. We started looking into this judge yesterday that went and read the Miranda rights, and I'm all for American citizens need to maintain their rights or this government is going to go way out of control. But the FBI was shocked by this judge. We were 16 hours into a 48-hour process where it's legal to not Mirandize somebody for 48 hours if they are moving forward. The FBI was shocked, but yet the Justice Department wasn't. Holder knew about it. She was dispatched by somebody, apparently. She's a woman who has gone over to the Middle East many times. She has been working with the Islamic judges over in the Middle East. Do we know anything about her? Do we know who exactly gave her the order to go over to the hospital and stop the questioning? What happened there? Who is she?
Well, we got different versions on that she just showed up, and then, the Justice Department had advised her to come, and I haven't gotten a satisfactory answer, but think about it. When your Attorney General has spent more of his legal career helping terrorists than defending the country, then, we all have certain biases and lean certain ways. But let me correct something. There are so many legal experts out there that say, he had to be Mirandized. The consequences of failing to Mirandize him, even if they went days without Mirandizing, the consequences, the Supreme Court says, is the exclusionary rule. Then anything said after he should have been Mirandized will not be admissible at his trial, although it would be admissible at potentially other trials of other individuals. And it would also be usable if you find out information that will save Americans. So the price of not Mirandizing him 48 hours later, which is when you're supposed to, actually it begs the question, what happens if you don't? Well, if you don't by 48 hours, you can't use anything that he has said before that. So
what I'm asking you here,
no need to rush in 16 hours later. And one other comparison, compare that to people who were at Benghazi or who knew about what all went on in Benghazi, who have been asking for private attorneys from this administration, and this administration has gone days and days and days and refused to pony up and agree to a council so they can talk about what happened.
We now know that much of the Benghazi things that we talked about at the Blaze, we talked about very early. We talked with you when you were here, I believe, right after Benghazi. And I said, this is Congressman, there's something wrong, and here's what we think it is. And it looks like it's now being confirmed. It was nonstop lies from the administration. Is anything ever going to happen with that?
Well, I sure hope so. The Intelligence Committee did their report, but keep in mind this is the same Intelligence Committee that last summer, after Michelle Bachmann and I and three others signed letters asking for investigations as to the extent of the Muslim Brotherhood influence in 5 different departments and set out undeniable facts in each one of those letters. Our Intelligence Committee chairman and ranking member went public and said, we have absolutely no information that any of this is true. That, and all we were saying is there are indications of Muslim Brotherhood influence. Well, now, Egypt, an Egyptian magazine says there are 6 members of the Muslim Brotherhood who are active and are playing a vital role in this administration, and they set out their names. How is it that our intelligence is not as intelligent as an Egyptian
No, but I don't believe that. And Congressman, I don't believe that, and I don't think you do either. Maybe you do. I think they know. I think they have chosen to believe that the Muslim Brotherhood is, on the good guys. I think Muslim Brotherhood in these clerics and the mosques, several of them around the country, are run by Saudi Arabia, funded by Saudi Arabia, funded by the North American arm of the Muslim Brotherhood. We have the Muslim Brotherhood in here in Texas, all across the country. We have them with CARE. The guy who's now running the Syrian rebels in Syria for the Muslim Brotherhood, who we have helped prop up. That guy comes from Dallas, Texas. His wife was a school teacher here. They leave Texas in December.
Mohammed al-Biari lives there in Plano, and he's on the Homeland Security Advisory Council. The Egyptian magazine counts him as a solid member of the Muslim Brotherhood, and he has defended Qutb and said he's a great writer, and that's the guy that is given credit for radicalizing Osama bin Laden. And then you've got Mohammed Majid, the imam, who advises the president on all kinds of issues, helps him with speeches, gives him all kinds of advice. And then Mohammed Majid also happened to hand a diversity award to an extreme Jew hater named Dawood Valad. And so these guys are not friends of Israel. They're not friends of ours, and they do give horrible advice at this administration. So you're exactly right. They know who's in there advising them. But I have asked Janet Napolitano under oath how many members of the Muslim Brotherhood were on her Countering Violent Extremism working group. She couldn't answer. On the Homeland Security Advisory Council, she couldn't answer, but the Egyptian magazine knows. And when I asked her what was the Freedom and Justice Party in Egypt, she couldn't answer. She didn't know that it was the Muslim Brotherhood Party, and that is also the name of the foundation of one of her Homeland Security Advisory Council members.
So help me out on this, because
either they lie under oath or they do know the extent of Muslim Brotherhood infiltration into our government.